Let's move on to business. Stephen Carroll is joining us here on Setstand with a big story in the world of business. This is a big change, isn't it, at the top of Amazon?
That's right. The man who founded and built the e-commerce giant is stepping down from his position as CEO. Jeff Bezos is handing over the reins of the booming business to Amazon's head of cloud services, a man called Andy Jassy. Revenues at Amazon have soared during the pandemic, up 44% in the last 3 months of 2020. The company has made Bezos the world's richest man, a title that he now competes with for Tesla founder Elon Musk. Bezos will remain at Amazon as executive chairman, and in a letter to staff he said that he'll stay engaged in important Amazon initiatives but also have the time and energy that he needs to focus on the Day One Fund, Bezos Earth Fund, Blue Origin, the Washington Post and his other passions. It will still be a huge change at the company, which has of course become a household name.
Amazon is not the first, nor is it the last innovator who will disrupt a market. But what's significant about what Jeff Bezos has done is the magnitude of that disruption. There are very few markets that have been left untouched in some way as a result of what Amazon has become.
This departure from Jeff Bezos from Amazon comes at a time the company is facing increasing scrutiny from regulators. In the most recent decision, the US Federal Trade Commission has ordered the company to pay out almost $62 million to delivery drivers. That's to settle claims that the company had pocketed tips left for those drivers by their customers. The claims concerned Amazon's flex drivers who do occasional delivery shifts for the firm.
Now another tech giant reporting results. This is Google's parent company, Alphabet.
A surge in advertising boosted Alphabet's earnings in the last 3 months of 2020, revenues jumping by more than a fifth after a volatile year where Google's earnings actually saw their first quarterly decline. The company's chief financial officer, Ruth Porat, likening the recovery to what was seen after the 2008 financial crisis. For 2020 at a whole, revenues from Google's services, which are mostly advertising, and from its cloud business both grew. Total revenues up by 13%, while profits jumped by over 20% to over $41 billion.
Very different picture, though, from another advertising giant. This is France's Publicis.
The company saw a drop in revenues and profits for 2020, and that reflects the broader trend in the advertising industry. Now, things did improve for Publicis in the last 3 months of the year, particularly in the United States, where the company did see some small growth. Net operating profits at the company down by 13% for the year. It's expecting a return to growth in the second quarter of 2021.
Time for the markets then. What's happening, Stephen?
Asian markets, a mixed picture today. There's still some optimism around that governments are going to spend more on boosting the economy, so that's giving investors something to be cheerful about, but company results also feeding into sentiment. Despite reporting record results in the most recent quarter, shares in the Chinese tech giant Alibaba are down over 3% in Hong Kong, and that's due to fears of increased regulation there.
Now here in France, despite a gloomy economic picture, there are some sectors, in fact, which are hiring.
It's expected the jobless rate in France will rise significantly this year, as many businesses won't survive when government support is wound down. But bakeries are hiring, with more than 9,000 jobs going across the country. Ellen Gainsford reports.
This baker has been trying to recruit an assistant since January. But pastry chefs are in high demand in France, and he's had no replies to his advert.
Recherche un ouvrier pâtissier avec expérience. Rien du tout.
There are currently 9,000 jobs going in 33,000 bakeries in France. This bakery trains 4 apprentices each year.
C'est notre ADN de transmettre notre savoir-faire. Ça nous permet aussi d'avoir un petit peu plus de jeunesse. Ils apprennent des choses nouvelles quand ils viennent d'autres entreprises ou du CFA.
In the back of the shop, apprentice Guillaume finishes his training in a few months. He feels confident he'll find work.
C'est pas un métier qui va se perdre dans le temps. Enfin, le pain et les gâteaux, enfin, c'est de l'alimentaire, donc on aura toujours besoin.
Considered essential businesses, bakeries have been allowed to stay open throughout the pandemic, so they've been less impacted by the economic downturn. In this training centre in Vannes, 380 apprentices are learning the trade.
Actuellement, oui, avec tout ce qui se passe, évidemment, c'est là où il y a du travail.
Mon chef pâtissier me l'a dit, il m'a dit « j'aimerais bien qu'à la fin que tu restes ». Il m'a dit clairement « il y a un poste d'ouvrier pour toi si tu as envie ».
Across France, many training courses for bakers are fully booked as people look for secure employment in uncertain times.
That's got us all feeling hungry. Finally from Stephen, after last week's Wall Street frenzy, the heat, well, it seems to be finally going out of companies like GameStop, doesn't it?
Yeah, the video game retailer's shares saw eye-popping gains last week as amateur traders organised on online forums like Reddit to buy the firm to punish Wall Street hedge funds who'd bet against the company's shares. Shares in GameStop, though, and others caught up in the spending spree, including the cinema chain AMC. They've been tumbling this week from the peaks that we saw last week. So at its height last week, GameStop shares were worth over $347 each. They've slumped by around 3/4 since then, closing at around $90 on Monday. Shares in the company still 4 times higher than they were a month ago. Is this over? Who knows? How long more will we be talking about GameStop?
I was going to say, what will we talk about if it is
exactly?
over?
Yeah, I'll just be here performing.
As you
Spoken
do,
word.
As you do every day. Stephen, thank you very much, Stephen Carroll. With the business news on France 24.